Hey beauties. So I'm popping on to challenge myself to talk to you all about an offering that it's a modality that I've been working with and sharing and supporting many, many people on for over 10 years now. And I don't think I've ever officially mentioned it here, rarely even in my newsletters at all. It's actually, I feel like I have this protective way of holding it because it's so potent and rich and very much its own initiation that I love just having people find me and know that they need to do it. And I'm realizing more and more that that might be getting in the way of folks that are really seeking this kind of support. So I'm challenging myself to talk about it. So for many of my clients, they actually find me from word of mouth. And so if you want to know, it's called the Deep Soul Journey. And I just did one this morning. It is one of my favorite ways of supporting folks that have really complex issues it can be really complex issues physiologically, spiritually, psychologically, that you're having a hard time getting diagnoses for, you're finding yourself feeling really spun out, trying all these different techniques to address something. And I find that the Deep Soul Journey is kind of the psychic exploration on how do we get beneath the surface on patterns that are exhibiting their unique, how do I write this? So underneath the surface, there is a realm. It is called the soul realm. That's what I call it. And the soul realm is a place that dreams are made of. It's a place where our soul navigates this human experience through symbolism, through metaphor. It's where the unseen world kind of liaison with our waking world through the subconscious soul realm. It is really like a living universe. And what I find with my clients is that my clients will take me to a unique place, a unique landscape in their soul realm to dissect and kind of take apart what's happening within them in a theatrical storytelling way. So I find that the soul loves stories, the soul loves myth, the soul loves moving through challenging human experiences by turning it into something that's very symbolic. So, for example, I've had clients that have had chronic ailments heal through these sessions because let's use the example of somebody who is chronically has like thyroid issues or issues around sore throats or strep, and it's constant. And they're trying all these things. It just keeps coming back. So we go to the soul realm and we say, okay, is there anything here that you want to show us? And on a soul level, the soul might show me, oh, this person has lacerations on their neck. There's goo coming out of their neck. There's a rope tied around their neck. There might be some creepy little entity being strangling them underneath the surface. And I find to actually meet what's happening on a soul level, there needs to be actually dissociating from this waking world, going into a deep trance state, which I do, going into that soul realm and addressing my clients there. It takes away the like in between mind and logic and the part of us that has an idea on why something's happening, and it lets the soul speak. So it's literally like removing all the physical world and me going directly to where your soul wants to communicate with me. And the whole session is me and your soul and your guides, and we kind of go through that process. So just say that you were that client that had this like rope all tangled around their neck. So we get to explore, okay, when did this happen? Why is this here? Instead of just like removing it right away, I find the most benefit comes from addressing why was that put there in the first place? Or for folks that have entities, I do a lot of entity work. I like to think of them as like misqualified energies. And so they can come through I'm not going to get to a whole entity 101, but in a nutshell, misqualified energies are presences or beings that are feeding off us in some way, that we are helping nurture them. And many of them come through times of challenge. They come through times of being inebriated, where our consciousness is kind of not fully on board and we become a bit open, and energies can come through. But a lot of the time, the issue is they generally they glide in on a vibration. So if you're feeling like shit and a really low time, or have had a traumatic experience, that vibration can attract, almost be like a vibrational bridge for these presences and these beings to come in and seek shelter, because it's a vibration that they recognize. That's why I like to think of them as misqualified. I learned this from an elder I really respect called Peggy Black. They're just misqualified because they're not, they don't actually, a lot of the time it's not like this is good or this is bad. It's like, this is a being that is seeking refuge, and they found a vibration that is comfortable for them, that they can be nourished by. But the issue becomes when you want to get out of that vibration, when you want to change from that depleted state or that inebriated state, or out of that trauma response. And those beings can start to realize like, oh, the moment that you start to try to change and grow, my ecosystem changes and it's not so hospitable in here, right? So how does an entity, okay, now I'm telling you Entity 101. So as an entity, what am I going to do? I need to find ways of manipulating my host to enter back into this state, this vibrational state that I'm really comfortable in. So what am I going to do? I'm on the inside of them. I have an idea of what ticks them, what triggers them. I'm going to start to create internal mental sabotage that will pull my host back into that vibration, that will encourage my host to lean towards maybe substances, that will encourage my host to make decisions that build resentment, because I love feeling like I'm living in resentment. So what I find is, by going to the soul realm, those beings are really clear to me. It's not this like elusive creature. It's like I see them and we can address them like that. It's also a place where I think of myself as a messenger. And for the most part, you, my client, are the ones that are showing me what needs to happen. And then the guides that we call in that are specifically work with our client. So I like to call in guides in a specific way, which is inviting the guide that is going to be most relative and supportive for the challenge or the issue at hand. So instead of being like, I'm calling in Kuan Yin because she's my homegirl, that I find that's the best way of realizing that we all have a fleet of resources and guides that work with us at different points in our life. And so they are waiting. They're one invitation away a lot of the time. And so that's also like a really cool way of meeting the support that's available. And so when this is all happening, while I'm journeying and I'm going through this realm, I have this ability, which I believe some people might be able to train themselves in more, which I'm going to kind of thinking of working on training folks in this ability, which is doing journey work, going into trance, which you're in a theta brainwave. So I'm visually seeing all of this. I'm sensing it. I'm smelling it. I'm tasting it. I'm hearing it. And I have my books. So I can show you. I have all these. So these are like my notebooks for my clients. And so while it's happening, I'm writing down the whole process. So I find that the writing of it down actually keeps me physical, so I don't totally leave, because it's easy for some people, like going into theta, you can only do it for, maybe like 5 minutes. I try to hold it for quite a long time to do the full session. So what's very special is that at the end, I have pages and pages and pages of this annotated journey. And I get to record exactly what I saw. And my clients get to listen to that recording. And it's like a tailored, guided journey through your soul realm, through the process that happened. And I believe by your conscious mind actually hearing and journeying with me in that way, it helps continue to move the pieces. So that's a little bit about Deep Soul Journeys. I only do 4 of them a month. They're really potent, and I see it as a bit of an initiation, a soul initiation. And I don't take it like it. I don't want people to take it lightly. It's pretty big, the work that we do in these sessions. And so I have some clients that will come back years later and still be receiving from the information that comes at the end of the session, because we're already in this like very liminal space where a lot of information's available. I like to do, there's always homework. So I like make sure that there's some kind of homework, so an action-based thing that you can do to help integrate what's happened beneath the surface. There's affirmations that come up, because I find that beliefs, when I go to the soul realm, beliefs are like riding on the wind. They're underneath the surface. So much of what do you call it? The weather is beliefs. It's beliefs that are either supporting or are sabotaging. And so each client, each session, I'll hear, what are these sabotaging beliefs that are kind of in the background of your subconscious? And how can we just name them? Like, I hear them as they are and we write them down, and then we work on affirmations. So like a reprogramming and a repivoting of those beliefs. A lot of the beliefs too can be really tricky because they sound really good. They sound really supportive, but there's a catch to them, right? Like there's certain beliefs that are sneaky and sticky like that. And not everyone would see it that way, but usually when that belief comes up and you can feel like, oh, maybe this is a bit of a scapegoat. Maybe this belief is actually enabling me to hold back or to withdraw or to not give my all in my life. And so we'll do affirmations, and then I'll always kind of compile like dietary suggestions. There's stones, there's like a sigil, a power sigil, because I believe that symbols speak to us on a different level, on a soul level. So each session, at some point, I'll be kind of looking for this sigil that'll be planted in some specific location. And so I draw these sigils down. And so the sigil becomes almost like a symbol to help you and your soul remember the medicine of that session. So like I said, they're pretty dynamic. I've never shared about them live here or even really promote them, even though it is my most return to session. So I'm sharing that now. If you're feeling like you've had some challenges that are just seeking some really under the surface support, some deeply witchy care on a soul level, then do reach out. You can check out my bio link to schedule them. And like I said, there's only 4 a month. So if you're feeling it, do reach out and read about it and make sure that you're a full yes, because it's a big initiation to have that kind of realignment happening on a soul level. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Ciao.